everyone, it's Lynette with Charm Grammy Crochet, and I don't know what the date is. It's February something. It's Monday, and I think this is Charm Chatter number 23, I believe. I didn't write that down either. I remembered to write down my shout outs. So, I do have some shout outs. We'll get into that. And I have no completed objects. But I have been working on objects. I've finished number 6, I think, on my 50 cal, 50 stitches, 50 squares, cal. I did finish the one for this week. And I'm keeping a journal of them, each week, what the stitch was. And of the ones that I really like, I'm putting a star by, and I'm putting like what hook I used. Not necessarily yarn and stuff, because it's all the same yarns, but 2 of the stitches so far that because I know it's 50 stitches, so I'm assuming that most of these stitches I'm not ever going to have done before, since my stitch repertoire is not that large. And I think 6 stitches, and I really found that the corner to corner, I did do 1 wash rag last summer in a corner to corner, so now this square is the second time I've done a corner to corner, and I really like that stitch. And this week was the waffle stitch, and I really like that stitch too. So out of the 4, I think 4 now, 4 or 5, I mean, out of the 5, 6, I think we've done 6. And I really like 2. Or we've done 5, but I really like 2. And the other ones were, would I do them again? Probably no. Maybe the one stitch was like a seed stitch or moss stitch. I don't know. You do, I think it was like a double and then a single and then a double and then a single. That stitch wasn't terrible, and it would be really good if you want a really solid piece of fabric when you're done. But I had a hard time counting the rows and seeing the individual stitches. Maybe because the yarn was small. Like I think it's like a 3 weight or a thin 4 of the yarn that I'm working. It's a Dreamweaver yarn, so it's a relabeled yarn. So I'm not really sure, but I of the weight of it. It's thin and it's shiny, which I like. So maybe that's, and I think it used like a 4mm hook. So the stitches are small, and maybe I'm not used to that. So maybe that's why I had a hard time counting them. So maybe it would be better if I used a thicker yarn and a bigger hook to work with that. I don't know. So anyway, I've learned 2 new stitches that I really would. The corner to corner I will definitely use again. The waffle stitch I could see using again. Maybe even for a sweater. That would be kind of cool. I'm making a sweater for Chloe, and that stitch I'm doing a kind of like that. I guess it's really kind of like that stitch on the 1 square I just said I wasn't real thrilled with. I'm doing a double crochet, single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, which I think is that same stitch I was talking about. I think I was supposed to do double crochet slip stitch, and that's not what I did. And I think I did a couple of rows of it before I realized I wasn't doing the right thing. But anyway, it looks good. And I can see it better. If it's the same stitch, I can definitely see it better on the bigger sweater yarn. But I did work on that over the weekend. I got both panels front and back done, and the front has like a little bit of a shoulder cut into it, and now we're starting on the sleeves. I'm finding it boring. It's all the same color, it's all the same stitch. I don't know why. I was like so excited to make it, but I have to like force myself to make it, to work on it. But I worked on that a little, and I worked on those other granny squares. And then I worked on and completed all the squares that I'm going to use, except I haven't woven really in tails, but I used those swatches that I had from doing the yarn comparisons, and I made triangles out of, or big rectangles out of them. And I'm going to put the rectangles together like this. And I used all scrap yarns, so I can't guarantee what all the color schemes look like. Some of them turned out, I think, really pretty. Other ones, I'm like, what the heck was I thinking? So I made, there's 9 of them. But I completed them all over the weekend. And now I'm going to sew them together. I'll show you the other ones, because there's only 9. I got this one. And this one, I don't know, you can see. This one. This one. And 2 more. I really like that one. And I really like, oh, there's a couple that I really like. A couple that I'm like, oh God. And that one. So that's all of them. And I'm going to put them together. Now, I did this with the stitches, the Modern Granny that I'm using around here. And I thought that I would use, on the Modern Granny, you do like a row of chain, and then you granny square into that, you know, you do the granny stitch into that chain. And so originally I thought I would do the row of chain and then granny stitch them, or then like do the row of chain, and then when I do the next chain, you know, put them together. I kind of thought of that, or just line them up next to each other and like whip stitch, you know. And as I've debated, I just saw that Tracy from Crochet Rossetti, who does all those granny squares all the time, had a tutorial where it looks like she's granny stitch all the way around, then took her adjoining yarn, and she's granny stitching together as she goes. I don't think I've ever seen that done before. So I started watching the tutorial, and I'm like, I'm going to leave it here because I think that's what I'm going to do. So I picked out this yarn. This is not scrap. This is, again, Dreamweaver. And I got this at my local store for, I haven't seen any of these, probably a year and a half since I've seen them have this big ball in any of the stores. But I think this big, huge ball, it says, you guys are going to die. It says it's 1 pound, 600 or 867 yards. And I think I paid $2. Maybe $1.69 even. $1.69 or $2. I know, really cheap. So, but I haven't seen those at all in the last year for sure. So they took all the yarn out last spring and then didn't bring it back until the beginning of fall. So it had probably been a year from then that since I had seen those big balls. But I have several. And anyway, that's what I'm going to join them with, is gray, because there's no gray in any of the squares. So it'll be, I won't run into I don't want to be any double colors on the edging when you add the extra row of squares that extra row of granny that I'm going to need to crochet these together. I didn't want it to ever blend in with one that I already had, and does that make sense? So anyway, I was doing this as a stash buster of my just scraps, a scrap one. I didn't use any scrap balls all the way up. Not even one. Oh well, what are you gonna do? So when I get done here, that's what I'm gonna do, is watch. I'll link Tracy's crochet join tutorial to the end of this. And then I had a couple of shout outs. Let's see. Let's start with, well, I got Crochet Rossetti. Kim's Crochet and Knits. She just hit 1,000 subscribers. So yay for her. I'll link her her channel. I love watching her. She makes such beautiful stuff. Um, but I'll link her, so go over and congratulate her on making her 1K. And the rest of these people need help getting to the 1K. It's Tracy's Crochet Rossetti. She's only at 567. So, as of this morning. So, check out our continuous join with the season of the Granny. We need to join. And, you know, smash that subscription button on hers. And then there's Witch Piece Craft with Judy. Judy is up to 759. So she could use a little bit of help. Petra's Happy Place. Petra puts out a lot of videos. You guys, jump on that subscribe button with her. She does a lot of lives. She's a very nice lady. And lastly, I want to shout out Gary at Urban Yarns. He crochets and knits. Kim does too. We won't hold that against them no matter what Madonna says, okay? Gary does beautiful knit work. I watched several of his videos today, and I think he does more knitting than he does crochet, but I watched some yarn, you know, acquisitions, and the knitting work that he does makes me want to learn how to knit. Because I want to make a sweater that has this kind of fabric. You know, this is a store-bought sweater. But he makes sweaters that definitely look like they just came off the rack. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. I don't think that I really do want to learn how to knit, but I would love to have sweaters that he made. Let's go with that. And he's a really nice guy. He's just over 400 subs, and he's got lots of videos out there. I watched 3 or 4 of them and didn't put a dent this morning before I took Lacey to the groomer. She got groomed, and while she was at the groomer, I sat and chat with the groomer for a little while, and then I went off to AC Moore because the AC Moores here are still open. I don't know for how long, but they're hiring, you know, for the liquidations, because apparently they had, like, their store closings is just kind of really strange to me, because they just opened stores here in Northern Ohio like 18 months before they started closing, you know, going out of business. So I don't know if they overexpanded, and I just don't get why they're closing, but they had orders, because the store people told me they had stuff ordered that they couldn't cancel because of their store closing. So the stores are in this area are staying open for those to get rid of the stuff that they had coming in. And they still have stuff coming in. But I was told that they would be closing like totally at the end of this month. One of the stores had said. I don't know if that's still true, because that store had hiring. They're hiring for, you know, while they're closing. You know, people to staff, temporary staff. That's what they're hiring for. So I don't understand that. Not for me to understand, I guess. But anyway, I thought I would go in there because somebody had mentioned that their stores were now at 40% off on the yarn. The store was still 25% off. Most of the Stitch Studio yarns were gone. But they had Lion Brand and Premiere and all that. But it's only 25% off. I can get a better deal than that right on the websites for Premiere and Lion Brand. So I'm definitely not buying it there. And they're still saying that they're getting more yarn in. More yarn coming all the time. There were signs. So it was kind of disappointing. I did not buy any yarn. I did buy, however, and I didn't bring them up here to the yarn room, their kids craft stuff was on sale 50% off. Well, the sign said 50% off plus buy 3 get 1 free. Well, it was actually 60% off, buy 3 get 1 free on top of that. So I did buy 4 kids crafts because I'm going to have the little grandkids over this weekend, and we're going to need stuff to do. So that's what we're going to do. I put bath bombs and I don't know. So that's going to be fun for us this weekend. And bath bombs and make bracelets. And Ari, I know, wants to learn more crochet. So we'll see how that goes. But I brought... Avery has no desire to crochet, but maybe she would loom. I don't know. So that's going to be the weekend coming up. And that's all I have for you. No yarn after going to the yarn store. I've been yarn banning myself or dieting or whatever. And so this is the first time I've been in a yarn store in a couple of weeks, and I didn't buy anything. Very sad, very sad. Don't need to buy anything. So that's all I got for you today, and hopefully on my next video I might have a completed blanket. It's not gonna be huge, but I think it'll be, you know, bigger than a little bigger, maybe lapgandish size or bigger. We'll see how it goes. See how this new join works on my modern granny when her join is not really a modern granny, so it might take a couple days to figure it out. We'll see how it goes. All right, thanks for joining, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Hit that subscribe button, hit that bell if you haven't already. If you're new to my channel, thanks for being here. If you're old, thanks for coming back, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.